we have a special guest joining us, and it is none other than PHNX Rising midfielder and Arizona native JP Scearce. How are you doing, JP?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. It's nice. I mean, obviously out at training today, so it's getting pretty toasty out there at the minute. So
Yeah,
quite nice to be indoors, I think, in the AC and not out there running around in the morning. How are you enjoying the heat at this time of season?
yeah. It's been a while since I've been back here during the summertime, so I gotta get used to it, I guess. And yeah, it's been hot lately, but hopefully that'll play to our advantage in these games coming up.
Yeah, a little bit hotter than Omaha, I'd imagine.
Very, very much.
Well, we've got a lot to get through today, going through a lot of stuff about what's going on at PHNX Rising at the moment, and maybe a little bit of talk as well about your background and kind of get into all of that stuff. So let's just start off right with the here and now and just talk a little bit about what the mood in the camp is like at the moment among the boys.
Yeah, I would say we're in a pretty good place right now. The locker room is in a good place. Obviously, we're a bit frustrated with last game, how it went. I think we were disappointed not to walk away with 3 points, but then again, we can't be too hard on ourselves to get a point away from home at a tough place to play with not the greatest of fields. But yeah, I think we're looking forward to the game on Saturday to hopefully get 3 points there and turn that 1 point in El Paso into a good one. So yeah, I would say we're all in a pretty good place right now.
And knowing how tight it is in general around the league, obviously not a whole lot of points in it, and still being somewhat within touching distance, really, of those, upper playoff places. How much does that add to just, the confidence knowing that it's really not that far away to be right up there among the top teams?
Yeah, it was funny enough. I was looking at the table this morning before training, and I think we're off by like 5 points from Sacramento, who's at the top, or Sacramento or New Mexico, whoever's at the top. But yeah, it's a 5 point gap, and I mean teams are going to drop points, and we have to do our job and gain points on them. So yeah, I mean I would say we're pretty confident we could end up in a high position in the table.
Obviously, a lot of you guys out there, we know from the very beginning, it's kind of been billed as this like 22 starters kind of setup. Just the competition among the players, how has it been for you and for a lot of your teammates, and just grinding week in, week out?
Yeah, it's been for me personally, it's been difficult at times. Obviously, early on in the season, wasn't getting much playing time, not as much as I hoped for, and yeah, it's something I was expecting coming in to have to compete for my spot, and everyone's in the same position. Everyone's competing at every position, and yeah, I think it's good for our team to have that competition amongst the squad, and not a lot of other teams around the league have that to their advantage.
Yeah, when you look at the midfield, obviously that's a position that probably where you're most natural at, right? There are lots of different kinds of midfielders.
Yeah.
If you were to look at yourself and your own skill set, what do you think is almost your biggest skill set in the midfield, and what kind of role you think you're best at in there?
I think for me, I'm more of a defensive midfielder, more of a six. So my strength is obviously on the defensive end, winning duels, tackles, aerial duels as well. My aerial game, I would say, is one of my biggest strengths. I would say that's where I stand out. And in my time in Omaha, I think the last 2-3 years, I led the league in duels won and tackles. So, yeah, I would say that's where my strength is.
So who do you think then, if you looked at the other midfielders that are on the team, and obviously say you run on the assumption you get paired up with one other, who do you think probably best complements your skill set among the other central midfielders there?
You're putting me on the spot here.
Oh yeah.
I've played with Renzo, with Jose, with Julio in training and in a few games, and I don't know. Everyone adds a different thing to the game. So it'd be hard for me to tell you who I'd pair up with the most. I would say probably Renzo now because he's played almost every minute, if not every minute. And then he's the only midfield partner I've had when I got the chance to play. So I haven't really tried out with Jose and Julio much. Jose, I guess the indie game, him, Renzo, and I played in the midfield. But yeah, it's a tough question to answer, to be honest.
Well, it's understandable. When you look though, you bring up Julio, obviously with him being one of the younger guys in there. How have you seen him adapt to kind of the move over to the States and adapting to this team as one of the younger guys there?
Yeah, to be honest, you wouldn't think that it's his first professional season, his first professional contract here with Phoenix. He's done very well ever since he arrived. Got 2 important goals for us, and yeah, he has a lot of quality, obviously coming from where he came from with the Juventus, and it shows on the training field and in games as well. I think he's done pretty well.
Yeah, as you look, obviously you took a step up this season as well, moving up from League One up to the Championship, and how would you say the difference in the level of players being between those two leagues?
Yeah, I've been asked this question a lot, especially by the guys on the team, and to be honest, I would say it's a very similar level. The big difference is there's a lot more quality amongst players in the Championship. I would say, like, just better quality and obviously physically and stuff like that. There's a lot more physicality in this league as well. But in terms of level, I mean, with Omaha, we were always one of the top teams. So I don't know. It's hard to compare because I would say even the teams I played for in Omaha could compete at the Championship, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, we'll get onto Omaha a little bit later, obviously, with some of those players you played alongside. Quite a few of them will be familiar to people here in Phoenix and around USL Championship, of course. But, again, just one more on the here and now right now. Obviously, you just got back from a road trip. When you go on those road trips and, you have downtime on the road, who do you find yourself around the most?
I would say lately, Jose. I've gotten pretty close to him lately, and I would say I'm hanging out with him the most.
So what about Jose do we not know then? Go on, tell us a bit more about Jose from behind the scenes.
Shoot, I don't know. I don't think there's some things I could say here.
Nothing you can say?
Nah, I mean, he's a good guy. He's pretty funny, to be honest. I think he's funny, so.
So it's the Arizona natives get alongside each other then.
Yeah, we have a lot of mutual friends as well, so I guess it was only natural for us to connect.
Absolutely, and of course, if you're going on a road trip just like the boys just did, and you're maybe driving over there, especially for one like El Paso, that's not really that far away. You can make sure to fill up your car at Circle K. You can save money by signing up for the Inner Circle program. You save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups when you do so, 3 cents per gallon every day thereafter. And you get access to other exclusive deals as well. For example, they got the any size Polar Pop or Froster right now for just 79 cents through September 3rd at any Arizona location. You can find it in the app under Inner Circle and offers. And of course, you can join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations, and you can go visit circlek.com for details. And of course, if you were staying here in the Valley, just needed to relax a bit over the weekend, maybe grab a couple of beers while you're watching the game, you can check out Valley Taproom out on the east side. They got 2 locations now, one in Gilbert and the new one over in Queen Creek. They've always got great stuff there: music, food trucks, trivia, bingo, all kinds of fun events, and of course the most important part there, 30 rotating beer handles. Lots of good beer to be drunk over there. JP, favorite type of beer?
I don't really like beer, to be honest.
Oh, he's not a big beer guy.
Well, I would say just Corona, I guess.
Okay, he sticks with the simple stuff. That's fine. They have lots of bottles over there as well. They got all other kinds of stuff, ciders, and they've got a huge menu as well. They got the bar snacks, lots of good stuff. Go check them out on socials at Valley Taproom, and maybe, just maybe in the near future, you might catch myself and Max over there. Right, well, JP, let's turn the clock back a little bit here. We've been talking a lot more about the here and now right now, but let's go back to a little bit more on your background. Obviously, you were born in Nogales, right?
Born in Tucson, actually.
Tucson, okay.
I grew up in Nogales.
Okay, you grew up in Nogales. So how long were you in Nogales then?
Up until I was about to start high school. Beginning of freshman year, my dad got a job here in Phoenix, and that's why we moved up here. And that's when I moved we lived in Scottsdale, and I went to Chaparral High School.
Okay. I'm guessing then that means you got your first experiences of football, your first memories of football would have been down then in Nogales then.
Yes, correct.
So what is your earliest memory of the sport then?
So I started playing because of my sister, actually, because she was playing for some team, and I was instead of watching her games, I was on the sideline playing with the ball in my feet, and my parents saw me and thought maybe we should sign him up, and that's where they signed me up to. I don't know if it's still around, but AYSO, which was a recreational soccer program that they had down there, and eventually moved to a club team in Tucson called TSA, and I was there for a few years, and eventually when I moved to Phoenix, I played for CCV Stars.
So how old were you then when you first started playing?
4 years old.
Wow.
I believe. Yeah.
So you've always had that ball glued to your feet then?
Yeah. My mom would always say it wasn't like toy cars for me. It was always like a ball on my feet, or dribbling a basketball, or whatever it was.
So you bring up there dribbling a basketball. Are there any other sports that you maybe thought about taking more seriously compared to football, or was it always this?
It was always football for me, but I enjoy basketball. I played for 3 years in middle school, and also tennis. Actually, I enjoyed playing tennis.
Okay. When you were growing up, what position did you play? Was it always in the midfield?
I think my first position was goalkeeper, actually, and then eventually.
Were you not crazy enough to stick with that?
No. I think I got too bored. I got too bored back there, and then eventually they stuck me out. I was actually a winger. So growing up, I was very, very small compared to the other kids, and I was pretty fast. So I was a winger, and then as I grew older and hit my growth spurt, I turned more into a central midfielder.
And then when you were growing up, obviously you mentioned moving up to the Valley when you were in high school. Obviously that would have been right around when Arizona United were around playing, and did you ever go to a game when you were younger?
I think it was first was it the Phoenix Wolves?
The Phoenix Wolves as well, yeah. Just before that.
I remember going to one of their games. That's when they played at ASU Stadium. I actually remember, I think they played Orlando City when they were in the USL, and I remember even Dom Dwyer was playing. Funny enough that you mentioned that. But yeah, I've been to one of those games, and then I did watch one of the Arizona United games out in, I think they used to play in Peoria. But yeah, it's crazy how I don't know how time passes so quick.
Yeah, I remember those Peoria days. That was always quite a trek out there into the. Yeah. Especially if you weren't already out on the west side, that was a long way over to see him play in a baseball stadium, which thankfully no more in Phoenix on that front. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you move on then. So you play at Chaparral. You move on and end up going to Yavapai College. What is it that took you that route?
So it's a pretty funny story. So my senior year, I was actually committed to the Air Force Academy to play soccer there. I ended up getting medically disqualified from there because I have a severe peanut allergy. And so Yavapai was one of the first schools to recruit me, and I had rejected them because of the Air Force offer. And yeah, when this all went down, it was like 1 month before preseason, and my club coach at the time, he reached out to the Yavapai coaches to try to help me out and try to get a spot on the team, and thankfully the coaches there took me in.
So when you're in that kind of JUCO kind of setup, right, and you're not in one of the big schools, what is that like for you then as a player in terms of trying to obviously move on after the couple of years that you'd spend there?
Yeah, so I think with Yavapai, it's always been one of the best junior college programs for soccer in the country. It has a rich history and has produced a lot of players who've gone on to play. You look at Roger Espinoza; he's played in a couple World Cups. He's won the FA Cup. Justin Miram and so many other players who have made it to MLS. And I would say most of the players that go to Yavapai tried to take that similar route that they did and eventually move on to Division One school, and that's what I did, thankfully.
And obviously you move on to Cornell there, so not too small a name in terms of the academics as well. So how did you balance that then, playing Division One athletics and all the academics as well?
Yeah, to be honest, it was very difficult. It was a bit of a shock to me just how difficult school was there. But I managed to find a balance. Thankfully to some of my teammates who helped me, and there's a lot of resources there that was available to us athletes. And yeah, it was difficult at first, but eventually you get used to it and learn how to balance the academics and the athletics.
So what was your major while you were there?
It was business with so they have like 2 or 3, I think they have 3 business schools, and I went to the hotel school, which is hospitality focused business school.
How do you settle on that one?
What was that?
How did you settle on that one? What was the decision behind that?
It was, so when I was getting recruited at Yavapai, I think I was taking like general studies and just getting general credits, and the coach had asked me what was a major I was interested in, and business was something I always wanted to do, and he pointed out at the hotel school. I did some research on it, and it seemed pretty interesting to me.
Okay. And then obviously you've ended up turning something else into a career here in terms of football. But when did that really become something that was almost on the radar as like a real opportunity rather than just, the standard kind of kid's dream of playing sports?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've always dreamed of being a professional footballer, and the opportunity came after my senior year at Cornell. I had gotten so I first got an invitation to trial with New Mexico United. That was after I think their first year in the league. So I went to do that. Obviously, ended up going my way. But Jay Mims, he was going to be the new head coach at Union Omaha. It was a brand new team in USL League One, brand new franchise, and he had invited me to go over for preseason for a couple weeks, and just to see how it goes, to go on trial, and I would say it went well.
I will say, you mentioned New Mexico United. We immediately get a boo in the chat. Shout out the chat here with that one. But of course, chat, if you got any questions for JP, make sure to throw them in there as well. And yeah, I'm sure they're quite happy to see you didn't end up going to New Mexico, as you've experienced already your first Rising against New Mexico game there, being there in the stadium, and how they kind of feel, I'd say, about the neighbors to the east. But looking at Omaha then, obviously going through all of that, how much of a challenge was it when you initially was stepping up out of college into the pro game?
Yeah, I would say that, talking about shocks, that was another shock for me. We went after the 2 weeks preseason we did in Omaha, we had a preseason tournament in Utah. We were going to play Switchbacks, Monarchs when they were still in the championship, and Louisville was the other team. And I remember watching a couple of the games and just seeing the speed of play, and that's something that kind of like shocked me, and it was a big transition, and it did take a while. It was a weird season because it was during the pandemic, so it was a bit difficult, obviously with lockdown and stuff, but once we got back to training, I don't know, just I had this confidence when I was playing, and it all just clicked. And yeah, it was a pretty good transition eventually.
You played alongside some players there that have gone on to really make a name for themselves in the championship. You look at guys like Evan Conway, guys like, the one that Rising fans will obviously know that unfortunately has made, again, the trip slightly east of here, but in Greg Hurst. What was it like being around a lot of those guys who, I guess in most cases, you were all pretty young and all trying to make that step up, and just the success that you had there?
Yeah, like you said, the coach there at the time, Jay Mims, he recruited heavily from college. A lot of college players who were trying to make the jump into the professional game, and obviously Greg's an exception because he's played in Europe. But guys like Evan and Greg, and even Devin Boyce, who played with Memphis, Dami as well. We were all just, I don't know, we were all just hungry, and we were trying to make the jump, like you said, and it's worked out for most players.
Yeah. And then, if we look at just that squad, and I know it's something that Greg's kind of told me before in terms of you won League One, and then if you'd have had the opportunity to make the step up from there and to play in the championship with that squad, he thinks they'd have competed if they'd made the jump up, or at the very least they would have been respectable at the next level up. Would you agree with him? Do you think they could have done well if you'd been able to step up?
I honestly think so. Like I mentioned before, where the teams I played with Omaha, I think, especially with that 2021 team, I think we definitely could have competed at this level. We had so much quality, so many quality players, and I would say the majority of those players are playing in championship now. So, yeah.
Do you think maybe it's a sign that, look, everyone always talks about USL and promotion and relegation and all of that. What's your take on that one?
I say it has to happen. It has to be implemented eventually.
Okay. Well, there we go. That's the big one there. We got JP Scearce calling for promotion and relegation in USL. We'll see. Will they listen?
I'm all for it. Yeah.
But yeah, just to kind of round this bit out, then obviously, when the call came from Phoenix originally to bring you back here, obviously at that time Juan was the head coach, and just how did that conversation go down?
Yeah. So it happened around. It was actually towards the end of last season, around August, September, where my agent, I guess, had reached out to Phoenix, and I guess they were pretty interested in me, and eventually was connected with Juan through a phone call. And yeah, I remember I think I was out getting groceries, and I think we had like an hour-long conversation where I was stuck in my car just talking with him, and he was trying to get to know me and get to know me as a person. And yeah, that's how it first happened.
Then, obviously over the off season, you don't end up ever playing for Juan. He moves on to Houston. Just for you guys as a group, what was it like to, kind of be a week shy of reporting, and all of a sudden it's, oh, by the way, the head coach has left?
Yeah, it was pretty weird, to be honest. I don't know if any of the other guys expected it, but I surely didn't. And yeah, it was a weird period because obviously Danny wasn't the head coach at the time, and he was still like as an assistant coach, but still running the training sessions. And yeah, now that I look back at it, it was kind of a weird period of back in preseason.
Yeah, but obviously now, having had the season start, everything in place now, just being home and being here with, obviously you've got family, you've got friends, all relatively nearby. Just how much does that mean to you to be here playing?
Yeah, it means a lot to me. That was obviously a big factor in my decision to come play here. And I'm a big family person. I love having my parents and my sister and the rest of my family at my games. They've supported me my entire life, and yeah, it's big for me.
They come out to every home game?
They do, yes.
Always there, always there. Well, you're back now in your hometown, but of course, we also got, if you want a beer, you can grab one from Arizona's hometown brewery, Four Peaks. We are, of course, in the Four Peaks mini bar. I'm here in the Four Peaks mini bar. At least you can grab a Four Peaks, their brand new beer, the Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale. If you're one of those Rising fans that was making the trip up to Las Vegas on the buses that Rising put on, we may have been handing out a few of those Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ales, and I'll tell you that people really enjoyed them. I personally really enjoy it. It's super drinkable. It's just honestly probably replaced the WoW for me at this point in terms of my favorite beer from them, which is producer Eric can attest to. He's nodding his head there. He knows that's quite a statement. But you can find where they've got 4Peaks. Go to 4peaks.com/located to find all your favorite beers and events. You can also check them out on socials at 4Peaks Brew or at 4Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. And of course, you must be 21 or older to drink 4Peaks, and please enjoy responsibly. Right. Well, we had a question in on social media here. It's from Julian, who is 8 years old.
Okay.
And he wanted to know a little bit about how you started playing, and obviously you told us a little bit about that and starting when you were 4. But what would be your advice for kids who are starting playing soccer now?
Advice. I would say just have fun with it. For me, when I started playing, I remember I just enjoyed being outside playing with my friends, and that's the advice I would give, just to go out and play and have fun.
Is there ever, obviously that changes a little bit, right? When you make a career out of this, do you ever look back on those days when you're younger and just having fun and kind of, I don't know, just reminisce about it?
Yeah, and that's throughout my career, that's been a big part of several team talks where guys or coaches whoever's giving the team talk will say, just to think back on those days when you're just playing for fun and there's no pressure. And honestly, nowadays, when I think about it before a game, like it really does help with the mentality part of just go out there and have fun and do your best and just play like you used to back when you were a kid.
And obviously, you've mentioned about playing here at your hometown club and what that means in terms of being around family and all of that. But just to be able to kind of represent in the community that, you grew up in and be that kind of figure, like inspiring for kids and all of that. What does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me, to be honest. I think early in the season, I did the reading with Rising. Went to an elementary school and read to some kids, and it was honestly, after I left, I had the biggest smile on my face just because of the impact that I had on those kids. They were all super happy to see me, and they were excited that I was there to read to them, and it means a lot for me to give back to the community that did so much for me.
What's it like then stepping out, obviously at 38th and Washington? We're probably going to have a pretty decent sized crowd this weekend, obviously, with it being dollar beer night. But when you step out there and there's a big crowd there and just seeing that, and obviously if you went in the Peoria days with Arizona United, you'd know that it wasn't always quite like that, was it?
No. Yeah. I look back to the season opener, and it was, the stadium was pretty packed, and yeah, it's exciting for me, it's exciting to play in front of so many people, and especially now that I'm back home playing in front of fans who are from my hometown, that I'm representing our city. So it makes me proud to have that opportunity, to have that.
Knowing obviously that you're coming into, you're here in the team now that won the league last year. What kind of pressure does that put on you guys this season to try and, follow that up?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of pressure, and especially now that I guess early in the season where we weren't really getting the results that we were expecting or other people were expecting. But there is an added pressure, and we knew that from the start of the season, and we knew that we're going to get the best out of every single team, just because, one, because it's Phoenix, and two, because we won the league last year. But I mean, for us, we just have to go out there and just play our game and do our thing.
Okay, right. And a few quick fire questions for you now. Favorite player when you were growing up?
Favorite player, Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh,
Yeah.
why?
I don't know. I remember watching him in the 2006 World Cup, and that's when I became a huge fan of him and of Manchester United. So, yeah.
Player that you most try and model your game after now?
I would have to say Rodri, just because of how dominant he is as a midfielder, and a lot of the guys on the team say I play similar to him. So, I would say Rodri.
Best player that you've ever played with?
That I've ever played with. That's a great question. I'm trying to think back to Omaha days. I mean, to be honest, there's a lot of good players on the team here. To name, I would say Fed is one of them. To be honest, just he's so good on the ball, and whenever I'm defending against him, it's just so hard to take the ball away from him.
Okay, best player you've ever played against?
Played against. I would have to say, I think Johnny Russell, Sporting KC. We played him in Open Cup a couple years ago when we had that run.
Okay. Funniest player on the current team?
Funniest?
Funniest, yeah.
In my opinion, I think Rocco's very funny.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a very funny guy.
Well, goalkeepers are normally quite interesting characters, aren't they? So
yeah,
kind of a requirement to play in that position.
Yeah, he's very funny, I think.
Who do you think is the most locked in among your current teammates?
Oh, man. He's always focused. I would say Emi Cuello. He's always like super focused and pretty quiet. So I would say he's always locked in training and stuff like that.
Who has the worst music taste on the team?
The worst music taste? Well, to be honest, I think Remy's the only guy who connects to the aux. So and it's not bad, but I haven't gotten a chance to listen to other guys' music. So
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, trying to think. Any others? Reese in the back. Put in the face. Favorite club. There we go.
Favorite club? Like, what do you mean?
Growing up.
United, Manchester United.
Manchester United. I'm getting a shake of the head from the back of the room here. And of course, you know what? We'll round out on this one. This will be a nice one to finish us off with. I'm sure now, as you look back, and you mentioned obviously that trial that you had with New Mexico United, you've of course learned from your ways, and you'd never give that one a go again, would you?
No.
No. Happy that you didn't get it in the end?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. There we go. That's the correct answer. I know that'll keep some people very happy who are watching along with this one. We got a question in there from Jet in the chat saying most bitter ACCAC rival.
Most bitter ACCAC rival. It had to be Phoenix College. They would always make a big deal out of playing against us. So, yeah, I would have to say Phoenix.
Okay, there we go. All right. Well, that just about rounds us out, I think. So, JP, thank you for hopping in and joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's nice to have someone alongside other than Max, actually, for a change. Yeah, it makes it a little bit different. But I will be joining Max later this week, by the way. We won't have our usual pod on Thursday, but we will have an audio-only pod, so make sure to go subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever else you get your podcast, the PHNX Rising podcast there. And of course, if you aren't already, go ahead and sign up to become a diehard on our website, gophnx.com. You get all kinds of perks. You get access to our members only Discord. You get access to all of the written content online. And of course, the most important part, you also get a free t-shirt from the locker every single year that you are a member, as well as discounts on events, merch, all of that good stuff. For more details, go over and check it out at gophnx.com. betmgm.com to become a diehard today. Well, JP, again, thank you for your time today. Fingers crossed for a good result coming up this weekend against Charleston.
Yes, hopefully we get the 3 points.
Hopefully on national TV. Right. Well, that'll just about do us here. So until we see you later this week with that audio-only podcast, good night.
We all silly like the mayor.